Hi, this is Joey Hennigan, field agronomist with Beck's Hybrids in Wisconsin. Just wanted to come and give a quick update on where I see our grain fill process, primarily towards corn, but touch on soybeans a little bit as well. So we're right around Labor Day weekend here, and most of the corn, particularly in the southern part of the state, is at full dent, if not having a milk line migrating down. And I know there's even a couple areas or fields that have even started chopping silage, which with a very rough statement is usually around half milk line. But most of the state is really around more or less that full dent stage, and we're starting to get those milk lines to develop. I have heard a lot of comments that, the crop is made at this point, we are good to go, our disease pressure won't have an impact, the crop is set. I really don't agree with that, because even at full dent and even as milk line starts developing and migrating down, we still have somewhere between 10 and 20% of that kernel weight and ultimately that yield potential yet to develop, yet to fill in that ear. So yes, we are a good 80% plus of the way there, so it is pretty hard to have a crop failure at this point. There's still a lot of filling yet to go, and there's still a lot of kernel weight to be accumulated. I've got a bulletin attached to this memo as well, so check that out for some charts and some helpful figures, but just understand we've still got some crop to be made. Now, there's not a lot of management yet for us to execute or act on at this time of year when we've got disease pressure growing, and fertility train has already left the station, all of that. So there's not a lot we can do this year, but absolutely I think we can still observe, understand, and learn what this corn crop is doing as it finishes development here, and anything we might be able to change for future years. If we do have a lot of disease pressure that we're not happy with, does that include sharpening up our fertility program to help make that plant healthier? Does that include a difference in fungicide timing or even a fungicide application if there wasn't one? All of those things could play into how diseases develop and where and how they impact crops. So I just want to emphasize, we're not done yet. Our management tactics are nearly exhausted at this point, but the crop itself still has a ways to go, and it still can be very good. I don't expect us to have really any major failures, but I do expect we'll probably trim some yield potential off with the disease pressure that, with a very broad statement, is growing across the state. On the soybean side of things, of course, they're still filling out their pods as well. Moisture here in August, early September is a really big driver of soybean yields here in Wisconsin. We generally have had pretty good moisture here over the last couple of weeks, if not too much moisture in some areas. But that, I think, will lead to a lot of good pod filling, a lot of good bean seed size, and hopefully some good pod retention for those last couple of pods that did develop in early August and are filling out through the last month. So I'm pretty optimistic on beans, albeit they are harder to estimate final production and yield compared to corn, but I like where we're sitting on them, and the fact that from what I've seen, we've got a little bit less disease pressure in the beans, although there's definitely white mold primarily out there. So just want to bring that update to you. The corn crop is sitting in good shape. I think we'll trim a little bit of potential off in the worst of these disease incidents because we still have, again, 10 to 20% yield potential yet to build. So let's just keep an eye on that, learn from it, see if there's anything we need to be paying attention to in the future in terms of either, again, fertility development, fertility applications, disease development, anything related to how we can manage this crop a month ago, 2 months ago, in succeeding seasons to see how we can always do better. So if you got any questions, find your local Beck dealer representative or myself. We'd be glad to help you out. Thank you. Have a good day.